They told us to give a disclaimer. The views expressed on this podcast are those of the podcasters, any guests, and do not reflect any of the management, owners, sponsorships, or employees of thereof. Pretty much, if you're soft, don't listen to this podcast.
One thing I pride myself on is just being the same and trying to look out for my folks along the way.
Like, even with all these, big things happening, like, you still mad humble, and you still, like, you have enough clout now where you could easily be like, I'm not fucking with this, I'm not fucking with that.
Oh yeah, motherfuckers, it's on.
Unrestricted Podcast is DreRawka. Welcome to the show. I got a very special guest in the studio today, my man Jason. We talked yesterday, and I was like, yo, you got to come back to the studio. Let's hear your story. He's a father, a husband, and he's also with All-Star Mouthguards, man. Jason, how you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I can't complain.
Yeah.
We're recording on a Sunday. The weather has cleared up, and I got my coffee.
Nice. That's all you need, right?
Yeah, man. How did you guys handle that storm that rolled through? Were you out there shoveling, or do you got a snowblower?
No, I have to do an old school shovel.
What kind of shovel you got? You got like a plastic one, or you got the old school metal tinfoil?
No, luckily it's like the plastic one, but it's like the hefty one, the thick one,
Yeah.
Move some snow, but yeah, I mean, it took a while. I think I went out there and did like shifts, I went out there for like 30 minutes or an hour or whatever, came in the house, and then I finished it up because we have a pretty long driveway too. And then I seen like the lady across the street, she's out there shoveling, and she's, maybe 50, 60. And so I was like, it came to my mind, like, you should go help her. And I was like, fuck, all right.
Yeah.
So I walk over there and I'm like, hey, you mind if I help you? And she's like, yeah, sure. So I ended up shoveling like her sidewalk and driveway too.
See, that's a good Samaritan right there. I like that, man. Sometimes it's tricky though. When you try to do something nice for somebody, they might not want your help.
Yeah. Well, I my son, we'll go to Costco or whatever, and I'll see like an older lady trying to load up like some waters or whatever. And I just walk over there and I'm like, hey, you want me to help you? And normally they're like, oh yeah, sure, but I have had like a few times where they're like, no, thank you. And I'm like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? Like,
I got it.
Yeah, exactly. So
I do the same thing. I think it's like a pride thing, right? Do you need help with this? Nah, man, I got it. All right.
Yeah, I'm a strong, independent woman.
In my head, though, I'm like, no, I really need the help, bro. Like, help, please, help me.
Exactly.
So you're a father, man. How old are your kids?
So I got 6 kids, ranging from 16 to 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you get the 16-year-old out there to help you out, or what?
No, dude, they're lazy. Yeah, my teenagers are super lazy, and I mean, I don't even ask anymore. I used to ask, and they'd be like out there all pissed off. So I don't even ask anymore. I'm like, whatever, I'll do it. But they do help with chores around the house. So but I just know the stuff that I have to get done, which is shoveling the driveway.
Yeah, gotta ice it out or salt it out there.
Yeah, exactly.
I was talking to my dad because I lived in Portland for 10 years, and in Portland when I was a kid, we never had like snow. We had ice storms.
Oh, okay.
So it was more, we had the salt, but they shamed you for salting because they're so, agricultural, like
environmentally friendly.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, the salt will kill the earth. I'm like, dog, the salt's from the earth, my G.
You're like, either I kill this ice or I kill my hip.
Yeah, exactly. Do you want to slip and fall, Susan?
Yeah.
No? Okay, well, let me get my salt on.
Exactly.
So, Jason, man, are you from Utah?
So I like to say that I am, but I was actually born in San Francisco. When I was about 8 or 9, we moved out here with my parents. And we didn't really have any family out here, so it was kind of weird because my family's still out in the Bay Area. Like, I have a bunch of cousins, uncles, all that. And then my parents just decided to pack their stuff up and move to Utah.
Just off a whim.
I think my dad had like some sort of cousin or something, and he moved out here first like a few months before, got a job, got an apartment, and then he went back and brought like me, my brothers, and my mom back.
What's your background? What's your ethnicity?
So my parents are from El Salvador.
Oh, okay. Salvadoran?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was going to ask cartel, but I guess not. Maybe Salvatrucha?
Yeah, La Mara Salvatrucha, yeah. Yeah, they're
Just playing. I'm kidding. They're jokes, all right? No. So, Pops had family out here, and I just want something different. Maybe the Bay Area was just too much or something.
Well, yeah, where we lived, South San Francisco, it was bad. I remember being a little kid, and there was like just gangs on the corner hanging or like on the stoop,
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember like as a little kid coming home, and there'd be like 4 or 5 dudes standing outside with like sledgehammers.
What?
Yeah, just like on the side of the street, like, you know.
Now, this time might sound really ignorant, but I thought San Francisco was
and when I came here, people were like, San Francisco, like, now, you know, where all the gays are, and I'm like, I don't know where I was at, because I, you know what I mean. And so it was
they
like
out there on the soup. We ain't sweet, okay?
swinging sledgehammers.
Yeah, ain't shit sweet over here, all right? I'm like, damn, all right. And they drop it low after you leave. Damn.
Never thought of that, but that's actually hilarious.
Gay gangsters out there, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, but like
just playing jokes. Don't get after me.
When we would go out, because we would go out there pretty often. Like I said, we have family, so we'd drive out there like every year, sometimes twice a year.
Yeah.
And it was like the same thing. It was always like you couldn't wear blue. Like, you know, my brother sometimes made that mistake, and he would get hit up by like all the cholos on the corner, like, hey, where you from? Like, so that's the main reason I think my parents left.
Yeah. And you realize it at a young age what a gang was, and that these guys move a certain way.
Yeah, and also my family, like my uncles and stuff, are from El Salvador, so they had like a huge war. So all my uncles weren't like no punks too. So you know what I mean? Like they didn't like the gangbangers out there, but I don't know. There was just like a lot of crazy stuff going on at the time out there, like growing up as a kid.
What was your childhood like out there? Was obviously the reason why you left was because of, you know, violence and things like that, but how was it growing up with like your parents and your, you know, your family?
I mean, looking back at it, it kind of sucked, but at the time it was cool. I remember we'd have to walk to school in San Francisco. South San Francisco was like, they put the elementary school up on a hill and kind of like build the houses down, you know what I mean? So we'd have to walk to school, and it was like all uphill, like, I don't know, maybe like a 30-minute walk uphill. Yeah. So we'd have to do that every day. And then there wasn't much like, you know, here my kids can go, they have a trampoline in the back, or they go out and play. We didn't have that. It was like, you know, you step out, there was a sidewalk and then the road.
No yard.
So, I mean, sometimes we'd go to the park or whatever and go play and do that. But other than that, it was just playing in the house.
So obviously, when I think about San Francisco, I think about, like you mentioned, the hills, right? But all of a sudden, like, I feel like when you go through the different towns and cities within California, and then you go into San Francisco, all of a sudden, like, the radio cuts off, and it's just like, whatever happened to predictability? The Full House song
comes through on the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah, exactly. How often did you guys visit that house, or the Golden Gate? Was it just like regular?
No. You know what? It's honestly kind of weird, because when we were out there, it wasn't really like that big of a thing, right?
Yeah.
But I do remember like the 49ers was like a big thing, and I mean, you go out there now, everybody's got some 49ers gear.
Bang bang Niner gang.
Exactly. And so I remember that, but you know, we would go to the Golden Gate, but it was never like anything big. Sometimes when you're in downtown San Francisco, you would like, oh yeah, there's a Golden Gate.
Oh, okay.
Just like kind of here, like there's a lot of people, myself included. Just last weekend, I went to Moab for the first time. Well, I guess I actually went to Arches and did all that stuff, like the tourist thing for the first time. I've been here, you know, 20-something years.
Yeah.
And so sometimes when you live in the city, you don't really appreciate it, or like go do the tourist thing, you know?
I think you're absolutely right. I haven't been to Timpanogos Cave. You know what I mean? I haven't even been on the temple grounds. I didn't do the whole walk through the lights and everything. I've never done anything like that.
Right.
I'm very much just stay in my little section, and that's all. I've always been that way.
Right.
I like when I'm living in Glendale, it was like just a hook and ladder and back home. McDonald's, back home. Arby's, back home. Raging Waters, back home. Like I never went off to like the east side, and then when I lived in Murray, well, when I lived in Cottonwood Heights, it was like I go to school and I come home. I go to Cottonwood Mall. That's it. But I think you have to you should take advantage of like what's around you. We live in a beautiful state,
right? And the last few years I've been like really getting in touch with just kind of doing the tourist thing, you know, going to see all the parks and doing the hikes and all that stuff. And it's been super fun and interesting. There's people that come like all over the world, you know what I mean, to come and see it. When I went to Arches last week, there was so many license plates from all over the U.S.
Really?
There was like a few Utah ones, but it was, you know, Rhode Island, New York, Florida.
Damn.
Yeah.
The New York people was like, hey, yo, son, what's to do around here, son? You from Utah, son?
Exactly.
Like, I don't know.
This is my first time out here, bro.
This is my first time out here too, bro. Coming from San Francisco, there's a rich music history in the Bay Area.
Right.
Did you feel any of that, like living as a kid? Do you remember hearing maybe Too Short or E40? And what was the vibe like musically in the city?
Right. So for me, like growing up with my parents, they listened to Spanish music, right? So I wasn't really like introduced to hip hop until I had some like younger uncles come or cousins or whatever. And that's when like I started hearing that Too Short, Tupac or E40 and all that stuff. And then moving out here, I kind of stayed connected with like the culture, the music, all that stuff. And I would like my cousins, I'd go back and my cousin would put on, I don't know, like Tracks a Million, you know what I mean? Some,
rest
like,
in peace.
Right, exactly. They'd just put some, and I'd be like, oh, all right, cool. Like, hey, let me grab that CD, you know, when you burn the CDs or burn me a CD, whatever, and I'd bring it back.
So that early introduction to hip hop, do you remember like the artist? You mentioned Tracks a Million, but was there any like specific artist or album where you're like, this is what I like?
Obviously, I think like for me, the greatest one that I was on, especially at the time, was Mac Dre.
Okay.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
Is or Die. That was a huge movement, and it even touched here.
Right. Yeah. And Mr. Fab, like during that time, it was just huge, and it was like I said, I would go out there and I just get put on some new artists or some new music, and then come back here and I'd have the CD or order the CD from wherever.
You were the plug for the school.
Yeah, exactly.
What school did you go to?
So I kind of hopped around. I was always getting in trouble, like in middle school and high school.
Yeah, kid.
Yeah, exactly. So I went to Copper Hills for like a year and a half. I went to West Jordan High, and then ultimately I ended up at Valley High.
Oh, okay. So you graduated from Valley. Hopefully you graduated, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I had to do like packets and all that stuff, but
I was saying, because Valley is the school where they make sure you get this, like this is you got to get this done now, boy.
right, that's when you go there. This is your last chance.
Exactly. What was your high school experience like?
It was cool, but I feel like for me, growing up with my parents, it was easy kind of like to slack off, right? Because my parents didn't speak English. And so they're like, what does this paper say? It'd just be like F's and absences. And I'd be like, yeah, it says I'm doing good, you know? And then I kind of played it off. I even remember like my dad came to school one day to pick me up or something. And I was, it's funny. I tell him, I'm like, oh, I need you to come into the office and sign some papers. They just want you to, I just told them you need to sign some papers. And so I switched the home phone number to my cell phone number, because they would call when you were absent, right?
Yeah.
And so my mom would be like, hey, the school keeps calling that you missed school. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll talk to them. Let me figure it out. And my dad was just always like, he didn't care. He was just always like, all right, whatever. So I switched that phone number to my cell phone. So then when I was absent, I'd get the calls on my cell phone. And they had no idea what was going on.
Would you act like your parent?
What was that?
Would you act like your parent?
Yeah, exactly. I'd be like, yeah, I'll make sure he gets a consequence.
Psych.
Yeah, exactly. But now with my kids, it's like I'm dealing with the same thing where I have to, get on them. Hey, like you were absent, and I feel like I tell my kids too, I'm like, at the time, I wish I had somebody to like put me in check and be like, yo, figure it out. You know what I mean? Go to school, like do all that. And so now I'm trying to do that for them. And I kind of explain to them, I didn't have that. And at the time it was cool, but like now that I'm an adult, I grow up, you know what I mean? Trying to provide for your family. It's like, I wish I had somebody to like tell me, hey, go to school, stay in school, to get your work done. And so with my kids now, I get both perspectives.
Were your parents entrepreneurs?
No, they always talked about it, but they never pulled the trigger on anything. And so that's another thing that like I explained to my kids too is, building the store that I have, like we had to go in there and like put in the flooring and paint the walls and do all that stuff. And so I tell my son, I'm like, I want you to see like the process and learn all of this. Because one day I want you to do the same thing with whatever it is that you want to do, but learn the process.
So where did you get this idea of opening your own store and this entrepreneur type of mindset? Were you doing something before you did Mouthguards?
No, I feel like, like I said, coming from like that troubled teenage years, I felt like I was, I couldn't get a good job or whatever. I didn't have a degree, so it was always like trying to play catch up. And I was always seeing there was my first job was a dollar store. It was actually like called Dollar and More. It doesn't exist anymore, but
I was gonna say I haven't heard of this.
Yeah.
What was the and more?
So they would have like different stuff. Like it was like dollar store stuff.
Yeah.
And then they would have like, I don't know, some sort of decor for your home or whatever. So it went up to like $20,
Oh, okay.
$50. So that was like the and more. They'd have weird stuff too. Like you ever go and they have like those Asian gifts that are like the dragons with
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like weird stuff like that.
Okay.
But anyways, the owner, he was just like this white dude, and I think he told me that he didn't graduate from high school or anything, but he had these stores and he was making good money, and I feel like that kind of planted a seed where I was like, okay, like if this guy can do it, something so simple, you know what I mean? And that was when I was like 16. So ever since then, I've kind of been thinking like, what can I do like to be in that position? And so yeah, I feel like that place was like a good experience. I met people that really shifted my mind to kind of changing from where I was headed. There was this coworker of mine, and she would always tell me, she was older, she was already like in college, but she was always like, you don't need a drink to have fun. Like, you don't need to like be going out and partying. And I remember we hung out a few times and we went to like a coffee shop, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's no alcohol, there's no, nothing going on. And so that shifted my perception too, where I was like, maybe I don't need to like be drinking every weekend or doing all this ratchet stuff.
Yeah.
And so that planted a seed too. So from there, I mean, I had like different jobs, but I knew I always wanted to do my own thing.
So, but mouth guards, because you don't really hear about like, let me get into mouth guards for sports athletes.
Right.
So what was the spark where you're like, I'm gonna jump into this career field?
So, I was just out looking for businesses or like ideas, and I seen this guy so I bought the business from this guy in St. George. This was 2015. He just did like the boil and bites, and I think he was doing it from his home. And so, I drove down to St. George, kind of talked to him, seen like the machines and everything, the inventory he had. We talked about a price, and I was like, okay, like give me some time to think about it. Went home, and then I called him and I was like, yeah, let's do it. Like, I'll take it. It'll be something like, at the time it was just like a little side hustle. I was like, I had a spare room in the basement. I was like, I'll just set everything up there and we can just sell online or go to events and do that. And so at that time, it was, like I said, he was just doing boil and bite mouth guards. And when I started going to gyms and events and stuff, people were like, oh, do you have like the custom molded mouth guards, right?
Yeah.
Because that's like the next level of mouth guards if you're like a professional fighter or doing anything serious.
Well, yeah, and you see the professionals on TV showing it off when they get a knockout or something, and it says like a special message or their flag or whatever it is. It's like, I want that too.
Yeah, exactly. And I did a lot of boxing when I was younger, and I always thought the same. I was always like, when you see Manny Pacquiao that has like the Filipino flag or whatever. And so I always thought the same thing. So when I bought the business, I was like, oh, this will be cool. I can go to like boxing events and kind of still do something that I enjoy while trying to make some extra money. And so when people started asking me like, do you do custom ones? And I was like, no, but maybe I can look into it. So I started doing some research, figured it all out, ordered a lot more equipment and inventory. And then I started just going to gyms and grabbing people's molds. I would have sometimes 10, 15 people. Like, I would set up appointments, right, at gyms, show up and grab their molds, and then I would take it home in my basement, do everything. And then like the week after, just drop off all the mouth guards.
What's that feeling like for them? Were they excited? How did that make you feel?
Yeah, for me, it was cool because like we just said, like looking at those fighters or athletes, and it just says something cool or your nickname or whatever. And like, I was always like, man, that'd be awesome. But when at the time, like maybe like 10 years ago, you would look and they were like $500 or $600.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, that's not going to happen. And so when I was able to give that to people for pretty cheap, you know what I mean, compared to that, it was cool, like just seeing their reaction, and not just that, but, you know, having people go into war or into a fire or whatever with something that you made with your hands, you know what I mean, that they're proud of, that you're proud of. It's a cool feeling.
So is it only combat sports that you make mouth guards for?
No, so I do it for everything: football, wrestling, rugby, lacrosse. But because I enjoy MMA and boxing, I feel like that's been my main focus.
Yeah.
But I also, you know, try to expand as much as I can.
Because I always see Steph Curry with the clear one.
Yeah.
Like the Invisalign thing. Is that something you can do?
Yeah. You want the Steph Curry special? We got you.
Now, if Steph Curry hands you the old one, it's all chewed up, how does that make you feel?
If it's Steph Curry handing me that, I wouldn't complain.
I'll frame it.
I got you. Yeah, exactly.
So you used to box.
Yeah.
What happened there? Why did you stop boxing? Did you ever go amateur? Did you ever take any bouts?
No, it was just in the gym, like sparring, but I did a lot of it. And at the time, like, I was like right around 200 pounds, so it was still heavyweight. And so I would always have like fights coming up. Oh, there's a fight here. Like, all right, cool. Like, let's do it. And then, oh no, like the dude, you know, that fell out or whatever, something would happen. And so it kind of got like discouraging after a while, after like months of like, you know, going to the gym and putting in so much work and then having it not happen and getting beat up at the gym too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then I had some injuries and it just never happened, but I really enjoyed just going to the gym and like sparring the dudes or working out and doing all that. And I still go to the gym with my son now. So it's funny because he would come with me when he was little. He was maybe like 3 years old, and he'd be on his little game and I'll be like, you know, in the ring or whatever we were doing that day. And now he's a teenager and he's over there, come on, Dad, like keep up or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I still go to the same guy, so it's pretty cool to see.
So is your son, is he thinking about going and competing, or is it more just for health?
We've talked about it, but I told him like I told him like, I'm going to tell you when you can even start sparring. Like, I don't want to hear, because he goes sometimes when he's with his mom, she'll take him. And I'm like, I don't want to hear that you're sparring or doing anything, because I'll let you know like when I'm okay with you sparring. And so we'll see like how serious he takes it. He really enjoys it, and he's having a lot of fun. So we'll see how it goes.
Does he get the whole, and probably not the whole experience, but I feel like sparring is a heavy part of boxing, right? Being able to take a hit, learning how to roll with a hit and whatnot.
Right.
Do you think that it would be detrimental not to have him start early and start to get that feeling of getting hit and learning how to take a hit early?
I don't necessarily think so. I think if anything, saving that, like not receiving all that damage, you know what I mean, until you're ready to like put in that work, you know what I mean? But in the meantime, you know, he's learning techniques. He's working with all the trainers at the gym and like learning how the movement, foot movement, head movement, all that stuff, you know what I mean? So right now he's still just in that process of learning all these things. And I think that once he gets that dialed down, then maybe it'll be the time where for me it'd be worth him taking some damage in order to learn, you know?
Yeah.
And to get used to getting hit.
Has he tested you yet?
He tries to all the time. Yeah.
Have you put him in any other like jiu-jitsu or wrestling or anything like that, or just boxing?
No, right now it's just boxing, and that's because of him. Mm-hmm. For me, like, I'm super interested in jiu-jitsu because the gym we go to, they do that, and I'm like, dude, we should come to one of the classes. I've gone to a few, but nothing like serious, right? I've probably done like a handful of classes, and it's super interesting to me because for me, you know, back in the day when I was boxing, I'm like, yeah, fuck that. Yeah, I'm not trying to be on the ground with some dude, you know what I mean? Yeah. Stand up and fucking punch, you know what I mean? But now looking at it, I tell him, I'm like, dude, it's good, like self-defense or whatever, you know, you never know. And I feel like a lot of those things, like even if you do it for a year or learn some basics, that's something that you can carry on for the rest of your life. If something happens, you're out with your kids, you know what I mean? I tell my son all this, like you can always defend yourself, and like once you learn those skills.
Yeah, it's a forever lesson.
Right, exactly. Better
to know it and not use it than to not know it and need it.
Right, exactly. And especially like him, he's going into high school next year. So I'm like, And I've talked to him too. I'm like, I don't want you telling people that you're boxing. I don't want you like trying to start fights or being aggressive. Like, you just he's a good, quiet kid, you know. So I'm like, just be you. And but if somebody ever tries to test you, you know what you can do. You've been practicing. You have the skills to defend yourself.
Have you had that in school fight situation yet?
For him?
Yeah.
No, not him in particular, but my older son. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
how'd that go?
It's interesting because, I mean, for me, obviously he's like, oh, I was just defending myself, and I believe that that's what happened. But I had to go to the school, and you know, you talk to the principal, and the principal's like, hey, this is what happened. You know, this is what's going to happen as far as on the school side. But the school cop is going to talk to you guys, and they're going to see what's going to happen on like the criminal side, right?
Yeah.
And so, we go in there, and you know, my oldest son, he's kind of like, he likes to be right. So he's telling the cop, well, I was defending myself. I didn't do anything wrong. And the school cop is like, yeah, but you just don't get to hit people, right? Like, and my son's like, well, so he gets to hit me. You know what I mean? Just kind of bickering back and forth. And I'm like the cop stepped out, and I told him, like, look, just relax. Let me handle it. So I talked to him. I'm like, he knows. Like, I've talked to him about defending himself. It's not okay to hit people. He feels like he was defending himself. But, you know, he understands. Like, I talked to him about this, and I kind of like cooled both of them down, and they were like, all right, you know, just make sure it doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
And then I'm in the car, and I tell him, I'm like, see, sometimes you can't just be like trying to argue. Just be like, okay, I get it.
Especially with them guys, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And they can, you know, put some charges on you if they want. So why do you want to risk that?
You don't want to mess up that juvenile record. You don't want to do it. You don't want those problems, especially with how connected people are in those they talk, you know what I mean? So it doesn't matter if you're in that school or a different school, they talk. So you don't want to target on you. Lay low and just, you know,
play it cool.
Exactly.
It happened already, and just play it cool. And so that's what I was telling him. I'm like, you don't need to sit here and argue with people trying to convince them that you're right. It's fine.
I think that's a challenge as a parent, is the worry of, because we can't always be there, right?
Right.
But the worry of, is my son going to be the bully, or is my son going to get bullied, or is my son going to go too far? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you don't know what other health conditions another kid has. Right. I had a very serious thing happen to me in elementary school, and this kid pushed me down the stairs, and I slipped and fell. I was good, but I was like mad. I was heated. This dude pushed me, and so I ended up punching him in the chest, and the school cop got involved in anything like that. My dad came down. My dad instantly was like, taking my dad from work and taking him and having him come to the school mid-shift, and he works in construction, so it's like they have to get shit done on time in a timely manner.
Not just that, but he's losing money. They're cutting my hours.
Exactly. So he comes down. He's already mad at me. Doesn't even know what happened. He's mad at me, and you know, the school cop's talking to us, and he's talking about assault charges and whatnot, and he's like, we talked to the other family, and the parents said that their son has a heart condition. He has like a heart, it's a murmur. Yeah, a hole in his heart. They were like, your son could have really hurt this kid. And that's exactly, it was that moment where I was like, man, like, I will avoid putting my hands on anybody, like, to the very last extent, because you don't know what somebody's health is.
Not just that, it's happened before, like here, where somebody, you know, has punched. It happened like a few years ago where the dude punched a referee at a soccer game. Remember that?
Yep.
And like, your life is over pretty much, you know what I mean, in that situation, off of one punch.
Yeah, you get knocked out, man. It's not good for your brain, bro.
Right.
That's bad news if you get knocked out.
Yeah, I have a story about I was in middle school too, and I got into a fight, and I remember I was in the office, and like I said, my dad was always super calm and laid back. He was just like, yeah, whatever, like, you know, let's just get out of here. So he came to pick me up, and you know, as a teenager, I was super like aggressive. And I remember I was in the office, the kid that I just fought was like in the other room, and his dad came walking into the office and was like dogging me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my dad's next to me, so I stand up and I'm like, what the fuck are you looking at? You want me to fuck you up too? You know?
To the dad.
To the dad, yeah. And the school cop was like telling my dad, hey, you better calm him down because if not, he's going to jail. And so luckily nothing happened from that. But I don't know. It was a lot.
You think I'm scared of jail?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm 16.
Lock me up.
Got my whole life ahead of me. What about you, Roger?
Exactly. So I don't know. It's just difficult, like being in that situation and now seeing it from like a parent's side.
Yeah, man.
But it's also, I feel like I got insider information. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I tell my sons, I'm like, I've been there. I know what you're talking about. If somebody disrespects you at school, especially in front of other people,
yeah, it's
difficult not to like go into that. Just like you got pushed down the stairs and you were like, fuck, I'm gonna punch him in the chest. Why not?
I don't know how to fight. I did what I knew. I seen Mike Tyson. He threw a punch, so that's what I do.
Damn, you hit him with the Mike Tyson punch?
Yo, that underhand left. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, I had little black shorts off out of nowhere. Who were some of your favorite boxers growing up?
Dude, obviously, like Mike Tyson. I feel like I just remember being a kid and, my uncles playing the Mike Tyson fights. They had them on like VHS or whatever that they had recorded from like the pay-per-view, and so they would like play those and we would watch those. Julio Cesar Chavez Sr.,
of course,
obviously one of the greats. And then, like recently, I feel like Pacquiao was always like something that I always had to watch his fights. And then he gets
I feel like Pacquiao didn't have no fear. That's what I loved about Pacquiao. He was swift, and he just had that champion, that warrior mentality.
Yeah, and what I tell my son now too, I'm like, go on YouTube and search Manny Pacquiao's fights and just watch his feet. I would just tell him, just watch his feet. Like then you'll understand like how that like his movement was insane. Same with Mayweather.
Yeah, he's really good. Are you familiar with a young fighter? He has Utah ties, but he boxes at a money team out of Vegas. Cromel Moulton.
I don't think so.
I'll show you his Instagram. This kid is, I want to say 13, 14, and a prodigy, bro. Like
really?
Straight up prodigy. This dude is gonna like when you got Floyd Mayweather at your fights, like cornering you, like yo, what's up? Like this the guy. This dude is a prodigy.
And he's 13?
I think he's 13, 14.
Dang.
He might be 15. But he's a teenager.
Yeah.
And he's just wiping out his division and his age. There was a pretty famous kid from he acted in what's that show on Euphoria?
Oh, yeah.
Are you familiar with the boxer that's on there? The young kid, he was on like season 1. I never watched Euphoria, but I know he's on there. He's a drug dealer, young kid.
Yeah.
So he's a boxer and he's like pretty famous. Cromel beat him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it was like a big deal. I'll send you his links and stuff.
You should send me that.
He's nice with it. Somebody that I always loved and it hurt my heart when they fought was Lennox Lewis.
Oh yeah.
When him and Tyson fought, it broke my heart because I'm a big Tyson fan. But I love the way Lennox Lewis used his jab and his distance. That dude was so nice with it. He reminds me of Tyson Fury. The way that he uses his jab and he knows his distance.
Right.
Being I think Lennox Lewis was like 6'5", 6'6".
Yeah, he was a big dude.
Yeah. Distance, right? It's just really cool to see.
Yeah. Yeah, it was always, I mean, I feel like heavyweights is always interesting to watch just because they are so, there's like heavyweights like Chris Arreola. Did you ever watch him? Where he's just kind of like this short, or even Andy Ruiz.
And Ruiz.
Where there's like these short Mexican dudes.
Yep.
Going up against like Anthony Joshua, which he's like super long. And so it's like, who's going to be able, is he going to be able to get on the inside, or are they going to be able to keep him out, or you know what I mean? So it's always interesting to watch like the technique behind that, of who's going to be able to impose, their fighting style.
What's your thoughts on today's fight?
People get a lot, they get a lot of hate for like the Jake Paul and Logan Paul boxing, but I don't know. I feel like if people find it entertaining and they can make some money, then why not? But I think Jake Paul's probably going to beat him. I'm not sure.
I don't know, man. So Tommy has this thing of, obviously he's the brother to the greatest boxer, arguably of all time, right? And he's a reality star. He has kind of this thing, a stigma against him. And then you got Jake that has just been knocking everybody and their mom out with crazy fashion. I don't want to hear the talk of it was rigged. And it was like, you think a great like Anderson Silva is going to fall?
Right.
Like, why? No.
Not just that. There's been so many, not so many, but with Tyrone Woodley.
Yeah, that one was nasty.
Yeah. So I don't believe that it's rigged. I just think that it's somewhat like celebrity boxing back in the day.
Yeah.
This is the new celebrity boxing.
But you can't say that now because he's fought fighters.
That's true.
It's not like Shaq versus who did Shaq fight? Who was that dude that Shaq fought?
I remember that fight.
Oh shoot, who was it? It was hilarious. It was somebody. Was it Sticky Fingers from Onyx? It was something like that. It was like some celebrity boxing match. But he's actually fighting fighters. Ben Askren, I don't care. You still have to spar. If you're doing some type of MMA, you're sparring somewhere. So when people are like, no, he's just a special wrestler, I'm like, nah, he still trains.
No, yeah.
You know,
I get that. I just think he's not like on the elite level of boxing, right?
Absolutely not.
And he's like the main event on these cards. So it's kind of like I get what you're saying. He is fighting legit fighters, but he's also not taking on like the best of the best boxers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think there's like a different league that he's in with all these YouTubers and all that. But I mean, he's putting in the work from what I've seen, you know.
I haven't seen nothing that makes me want to hate him. He's saying everything right.
Yeah.
I mean, he just went to PFL. He's an exec over there now. He's helping those guys get what he's at 50% of the purse.
Yeah.
Like, that's huge.
Right.
And on top of that, he's given he has like a non-bully campaign that he does to combat bullying. Like, why are you gonna hate on this dude right now?
Right.
Why? Because he's going against the juggernaut.
Yeah, Dana White.
Yeah, it's really weird, man. Because now his brother is like the hydration drink of the UFC.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of follow him like on social media and watch their stuff, and I'm like, that's got to be awkward because like Logan Paul's always dealing with people that obviously Jake Paul's just shitting on everybody. You know what I mean? So it's always interesting. Like, oh yeah, that's your brother. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the mouth guards, you start off in your basement. Obviously, you got the guy, you bought the company, start off in your basement. Now you have your own storefront.
Yes.
What was that transition like? Was it scary being like, yo, I got to get out of this basement. I need to take this more professional. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So it was just that thought, trying to be more professional, and actually Utah doesn't have anybody that does mouth guards. There's people in other states that do it, but here in Utah, at least that I'm aware of, I'm the only one. So, I just sat down one day and I was like, man, I need to do this full time because at the time I was driving a tow truck. So I drove a tow truck for 7 years prior to this. And so
is that lucrative? I've always been interested in the tow truck business.
It is, but it's also difficult because, well, what I was doing, there's two different types. So you can do like rotation, which is you're on the rotation for the police departments. Oh. So DUIs or anything, like if your car gets impounded or you get into an accident on the roads, the police have their own tow rotation or tow trucks that they call to come out, right?
Oh, wow.
And so they pay a lot better doing that. But the only thing about that is you're on call 24/7 and you have 20 minutes to get to the address. So if you're, and it's all over Salt Lake County, right?
Yeah.
So if you're in North Salt Lake and they call you in South Jordan or vice versa, you have to figure out how you're going to get there quick.
Oh, man.
So it was stressful. And then like, you know, sometimes I'd get called at 2-3 in the morning, or like storms like this storm that just happened.
Yeah.
Sometimes I would be out for, 20 hours.
Damn.
Just picking up cars, dropping them off, get another call, jump in the tow truck, go, soaking wet.
So you're like that meme. You know that meme when that dude's behind the tree and he's like this?
Yeah, exactly.
That's you during the winter storm. You're like, oh, there's a storm coming. You're like, yeah.
Yeah, we're paying for that summer vacation right now.
Yeah, the DUI, yeah. Drink more.
Exactly.
You're encouraging drug trafficking.
I'm at the bar over there. He wants some shots.
Yeah, huh? Here's your keys.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn, just playing jokes. So, lucrative business, but time management, it's just like that, all of that or nothing.
Yeah, it was horrible because, with the kids too, I couldn't really have them like on my own, It was like, oh, what if I get called in? Like, I can't have the kids because what if I have to leave? I need to have somebody to stay with them.
Yeah.
So it was difficult managing that. Not just that, but sometimes I'd be like, hey, let's go grab some food. And then we'd sit down at a restaurant or at a movie theater. And then boom, I'd get the call and I'd have to jump out.
Damn, you just leave them in the movie theater?
Yep. Just leave them there. I'll be back.
Wakanda's long enough. You're good.
Yeah, exactly.
So then you leave that job and then you start the Mouth Guards. You open up that storefront. Take me through that. You're being the only one here.
Yeah, so it was just pretty much me. I had a couple friends and family that would stop by and like help out. I had my son too there that he would come and help out sometimes too. But yeah, I just decided one day I had saved up some money, so I was like, I'm gonna start looking around to see if I can get like a physical store. And I found one, and then it was like a month of, because I didn't have anything, right? So I had not just the store was bare too, so I had to put flooring, paint the walls, get the reception desk, mount the TVs. It was like a process. So I quit towing, and then it was like a month of that, putting in outlets, lights, all that stuff. And so my kids got to see that too. They'd come visit, help clean up or whatever we were doing. And it's cool seeing it now where it's like a finished product. And I was like, kind of like what I envisioned. But it was difficult. It was difficult going through that. Because at the time, like I said, I quit my job, so I wasn't getting any income. It was like the middle period,
Is your clientele already kind of growing from your basement?
Oh yeah, for sure. A lot. I feel like there's a lot of people now. They have like somewhere where they can come in and they can tell their friends, hey, this dude over here, this is his address or this is his website. So I'm getting a lot more people coming in, or they're even like, oh, how long have you been here? Like, we've been looking, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I think it's always scary taking that leap of faith, right? Leaving a job that you know what to expect, you're familiar with it, what kind of cash you're going to be getting, to starting it and putting everything on your back, and it all lives and dies with you.
Yeah. It's also like, I feel like for me naturally, I don't like, I drove a tow truck for 7 years. It was probably like the longest job that I had, because I normally get pretty bored and I'm like, all right, let's like change it up. Let's do something. And I feel like for a while with the tow truck, at first it was super interesting, right? Because I would go on an accident and this car would be rolled over or down a ditch, whatever. Yeah. And it was always something new, something different that I had to like figure out or like problem solve. And I always enjoyed that. But after a while, it was all kind of like repetitive and the same. So I was like, I really need to switch it up, even though the money was good.
Yeah. Was your own storefront, was that before or after you broke your leg?
That was after. So I broke my leg 2020. At the October of 2020, I broke my leg, and I had to have surgery, 2 surgeries, and I had like, I don't know if it was like 18 screws, 2 plates in my ankle. And I was stuck at home for like, at the end of it was like 5 months.
Damn.
Yeah.
And you're not making any mouth guards during this time?
During this time, no. 2022, like COVID and everything, like all the gyms shut down. There wasn't anything going on. So I pretty much just, all my stuff was in the basement.
Yeah, man. I didn't think about that. That must have impacted you heavy.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. And so in October, I broke my foot. And it's funny because I drive a tow truck, right? And it's a small business. So it's not like you get PTO or anything. If you're not working, you don't make money. And so I remember talking to the doctor, and he's like, it's going to be, well, in the ER, they told me it was probably going to be like 3 weeks, 3 weeks for recovery. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's not too bad, but still, And then when I talked to the surgeon, he's like, oh no, this is going to be like 6 weeks. And I was like, oh man. And then it just kept evolving. He's like, oh no, 6 weeks of you just laying in bed, not being able to walk. Then you have like another 6 weeks of learning to walk again, and physical therapy and all that stuff. And so during that time, I mean, I know we talked about your surgery too. It gets depressing, especially being on call, being able to come and go. I was always out and about doing something, either with work or the kids. And so it went from that to me just being stuck at home with my thoughts, you know? So that was a difficult time. And I also, during that time, I was like, okay, I need to do something different, because if something were to happen to me again, where I get injured or I can't work, like that's it. Like I'm not getting any income, you know, or doing anything. And so I think that's like really sparked it. But I went back to work for the tow truck for about a year. So they
while you had your storefront.
No.
Oh, before.
Yeah. So I broke my foot, did physical therapy, finally came back, and it was a struggle, like, because I still couldn't walk like correctly, right? Like I was still doing physical therapy and all that. And sometimes there'd be a car that was like down in a ditch somewhere. And so I'm like, oh fuck. Like I you know, I'd have to go home and ice my foot and like try to elevate it, you know, just like trying to help it get back to getting used to doing all that stuff. And at that time, that's when I started looking for a store and trying to like see what I was going to do. And so, yeah, I went back to towing for about a year. And then I told them that I was going to leave once I found the store.
What are you most proud of with where you are now with your business and everything entrepreneur?
You know, I feel like it's been difficult. It's a lot of work, but I feel like the thing I'm most proud of is just having my kids being able to see like where we're at now, where we have our store. They come and hang out, you know. There's no boss that could tell me, hey, you can't bring your kids or to work or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like us doing our thing. And then I talk even to my 4-year-old, my little girl, like, she's like, oh, am I going to go to work with you, you know? And I'm like, yeah, like, you know, this is daddy's store. And one day you're going to have a store with whatever you want in it. Well, you can sell whatever you want. And I feel like I'm already planting that seed for them to be like, oh, that's a possibility. Like, that's the goal, right? To be self-employed, to do your own thing with whatever it is that you want to do.
Do you ever see your store, obviously it's going to evolve, right? It's going to evolve into whatever the next thing is.
Right.
But do you, being so tied to fight culture, do you ever see yourself maybe going into like the garments or anything like that?
I think that's like a potential. I've thought about that. Even if somebody like wanted to partner up, you know what I mean, that was already doing that. I have plenty of space at the store, and like that's been a thought, or even just doing it on my own. But right now, since I feel like I'm still figuring this out, I think once this is like the mouth guards is like settled and it's like kind of just moving along, I can start moving into something else.
I could definitely see somebody be like, yeah, I want the mouthpiece, but then also I need some trunks.
I'll have combos. Can I get a number 2?
Yeah, exactly.
With the boots?
Exactly. What's been your, maybe not favorite, but what's been a standout mouthpiece where you're like, this one is dope. I love this one.
I feel like I feel like that all the time. There's like at least a few times a week where I'm like, oh, this one looks good. Like, because everybody comes in with their own idea and their own creativity, right?
Yeah.
So they'll be like, oh, I want like this color with this color. And sometimes I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, you know, we'll do it. And then when it comes out, I'm like, oh, this was good. Like, this is, you know, whoever it was, I'm like, oh, it's cool. And recently I've been doing like 3D mouth guards. So they're...
What's that?
So it's like, you know how like they have fangs on the mouth guards? So I have this mouth guard now that it's like 3-dimensional fangs. So it's not like huge, but it stands out.
It
the
comes
fangs.
out. Oh,
yeah, the
dope.
fangs stand out just like 2 millimeters. So it's just, but it looks like real fangs, right?
That's dope.
Yeah, so that's probably one of the most recent ones that I'm like, oh, this looks good.
So doing the mouth guards, doing the mouthpieces, do you feel like this is what you're like living the dream, I guess? Not having to rely on nobody. It's all on you. Are you happy?
I am happy. Every day I go into work, just walking in and I'm like, I sit down in my chair and I'm like, dang, this is nuts. Like, this is what I've been thinking about doing since I was 16 that I told you I had my first job.
Yeah.
And so, and just having like the freedom to like be creative and maybe like whatever it is that I'm doing, whether it's making mouth guards or making some posts on social media, taking pictures of some mouth guards, like I feel like it's all like being creative and just having fun. And then on top of that, like on the weekends, I get to go to fights and like network with people or see like customers. Hey, what's up? How's the mouth guard? You know what I mean? So I feel like for me, it's it's all worth it going through the risk and all the work.
What if nobody has teeth? Do they need a mouth guard? And if so, how do you?
I got a gum guard for you.
Oh, with the silicone.
Yeah, exactly.
How important is it to have a mouth guard? Because sometimes people don't realize that just going to like a Big Five or something and just getting the generic one, it might hurt you more than not having one, right? Like you have to have one that's fitted. Why is that important?
Yeah, if you go get like a traditional mouth guard, which is like the ones that you boil, that they've been doing it the same for years, right?
Yeah.
You just stick it in a pot of boiling water and it kind of gets soft and you bite onto it and try to form it to your mouth as best as you can. And a lot of times, like the ones that you get at Walmart or Big Five, they aren't like made to take like impact, right? Because I remember when I was boxing, I had like I don't know if it was like a UFC one or I don't know what it was, that I just got like at a sporting goods store.
Yeah.
And it had like a little lip, right? So like a little bump to where it's like, oh, airflow. But every time I get punched, I get this huge cut on the inside of my mouth. Yeah, so I feel like it's important to just have that fit that's going to be comfortable. You can breathe, you can open your mouth, you can talk, and it's not going to go flying. You can get punched, it's not going to go flying. That's like my biggest thing is when I see dudes in like the UFC or like ESPN or wherever they're at and they're fighting and their mouth guard keeps falling out. And I'm like, dude, like, how is that possible?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, just spend the, you know what I mean, the extra money and get that fitted mouth guard that you're not going to have to imagine how distracting that is in a fight too.
Yeah. That would be mad, right? Because sometimes they don't let you put it back in until like a few, you know what I mean? Until there's no advance. And then you'll see Herb Dean like, yo, get your shit.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, how is that possible if you're a professional fighter, you're on TV, you know what I mean? The UFC or whatever it is. And you're having that problem with your gear.
Have you ever thought about advertising in these sporting goods stores? Is that even possible?
I don't know. I know it'd probably be difficult to get into, like they probably want to keep all the money to themselves, but
I don't know, man. I don't know. It might be something to look into.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a local sporting goods store. I know there's a soccer one on Highland Drive by a bar named Sue. I think soccer players use mouth guards, right? They should.
Yeah, they do.
They like the headbutt.
Yeah, just like basketball too. It's like I don't think it's required, but if you want to be safe and keep your teeth, for sure.
Yeah. You want to try to win some money?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's jump into What's That Noise?
Hey, Dre, would you calm down for a moment and just let me talk? Just at this point, you're just rambling, all right? What's up, everybody? I go by the name of Will Wonder, and I have a podcast called The Will Wonder Pod. I know, super original name, but I promise you'll love it. We talk sports, we talk music, and generally have some really interesting interviews with people that are doing some really cool things. So make sure you check it out wherever you get your podcast. Once again, that is the Will Wonder Pod. All right, Dre, go on about your business, whatever the fuck you were talking about.
What?
What is that noise? I'm going to give you this sound. Nobody's been able to get this sound, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's not that difficult. I mean, it kind of is, but not really. If you can guess what this noise is, you got Venmo?
Yeah, I do.
Cash App?
Yep.
All right. Oh, damn, all right. Business owner. I get it. If you get it right, I'll Venmo you or whatever, some money, $50. You have a chance to play. 385-240-4666 is the number for What's That Noise? Let's see if Jason can get this noise. $385-240-4666 is the number. What do you think? You can talk it out. Maybe talk it out in your brain, whatever you need.
Man, it sounds like some sort of lock.
Ooh.
I would like to say either like a door lock or like the hotel little latch or something.
Oh, some good guesses. Poker face.
That it?
Is that what your guess is?
Yeah.
Can we narrow it down to one?
One. I'll say the latch.
Okay, so like the hotel latch.
Yeah,
okay.
something like that.
What do you think it is? 385-240-4666 is the number for What's That Noise? Can you guess what this noise is? That latch is not right.
Oh, man.
It is not right. Hey, that's a really good guess, though. Because we just went to we stayed in a Holiday Inn Suites, and they had that. And that does sound like it. Good guess. Not right.
Not it, huh?
Nope. Get your guesses in now.
Are you sick of podcasts that just interview people with the same questions and gossiping nonsense?
Are you tired of hearing about what's wrong with the world? Can you locate your nearest orphanage?
Who cooked the Last Supper?
R.I.P. Mr. Potato Head.
Seppuku Harakiri.
Where is Mavis Beacon?
This is Hos.
And this is host Beefy.
Listen to the Beans and Rice podcast.
Exclusively in Braille and all streaming platforms.
Patent pending.
I'm a player, man. I'm a pimp, and I don't have to deal with. You got your shirt on backwards, player. Players, fuck up.
P or not P? That is the question.
So with P or not P, I'm gonna give you some scenarios, and you have to tell me, yo, that's P or that's not P. Back in our day, we're keeping it player, but now the kids,
Right.
pushing P, right? Okay, first one. Going to the comedy club alone.
Oh man, that's difficult because I like to do a lot of stuff alone.
We got a lot of similarities.
Yeah. So I would say P. Maybe you can meet a girl there or something.
Okay, there you go. I went to Andrew Schultz last time he was here, last time his tour came.
Yeah.
And I was there alone. We couldn't get a babysitter. Wife couldn't make it. And I was like, well, I'm going. And I'm not the type to like ask friends or whatnot.
Yeah.
If you're there, cool, we'll meet up. But I'm not the type to be like, yo, we're gonna meet here at this time and be there, whatever. I just pop up. So fast forward about 5 months later, another podcast host out here, his name's Germs. He was like, Dre, he's like, you went to Schultz, huh? I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, I see your bitch ass over there by yourself. I was like, damn, okay, leave me alone.
Couldn't even invite me over.
Yeah, exactly. He invite me over to your side.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so it is P, but hey, maybe you can meet a girl or something.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, taking the last fruit snack as a parent.
As a parent, I would say, listen, I have 2 young kids, so I would say that's P. Because if there's one left, I know they're gonna be fighting over it, so I'll just take it for myself.
Does your wife allow sugar in the house? I feel like she's strict on that. Or is it you that's strict?
No, she's the one that's strict. But I come home from the store with all kinds of snacks, and she always gets pissed off.
The dad with the hostess.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Doing a number 2 at your in-laws. Bubble guts.
Oh man, that's horrible. I feel like I can't. I had to be home base.
Right?
So I would say not P.
Yeah. Keep your number 2 solid until you get home.
Exactly.
I just went to my father-in-law's new house. We went yesterday in Ogden. I was telling you about that. And his house is nice, but his house is older. So it's 1950s, right?
Okay.
Like, I don't know if I trust this toilet. You don't want it to clog
You
up.
gotta ask if he's got a plunger beforehand. Huh?
Exactly. All right. Going to Baskin Robbins and ordering a vanilla cone.
Nah, P, dude. You gotta put something on there.
Right?
Yeah.
My son always just gets vanilla. He's like, man, just get a scoop of vanilla. I'm like, man, no sprinkles, nothing?
Yeah, something.
Come on, man. 31 flavors, and you just went to -1.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just the base.
Exactly. That's horrible.
You got a favorite ice cream?
Mint chocolate chip.
Man.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, mint chocolate
good.
chip all day. I had a friend try to give me pistachio. I was like, no, what are you doing? Pistachio?
Yeah. That's too much.
Yeah. Lying about your kid's age to get them a free meal. Kids eat free if they're under 11.
Listen, I grew up with that. And so I pass it on to my kids too. I'm like, hey, it's funny. So I'm going to say P, but I'm going to tell you a story. I had my daughter with me one time, and it was like a year difference, like whatever. Let's say it was like 4 and under or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And she's 5, so I'm like, oh, she's 4. And then right in front of the lady, she's like, no, I'm not. I'm 5. And I'm like, oh yeah, never mind. She's 5.
Dad, how you forget about my birthday?
Yeah.
Don't lie. I mean, come on. Be part of this.
Trying to save these $6, man.
Exactly. You got to prep your kid for the lie.
Yeah, exactly.
I ain't gonna lie. I have to tell my son that all the time. I'm like, yo, what me and your mom talk about, do not repeat when we go into this house, all right? Do not repeat it.
That's gotta be funny too.
Yeah, you got to prep them. Okay. Taking the last slice of pizza. The family had the pie. And there's one left. Do you leave that for somebody else? Or do you like, man, everybody's being modest, I'm going to take it?
I'll probably just leave it for the kids.
Okay.
I gotta heat it up in the morning for breakfast, make my life easier or something.
There you go. All right. Taking hospital supplies after a visit.
Well, that's got to be Pete. That's my Salvadorian roots, dude.
Same here, man. I got long Q-tips in my bathroom for nothing.
All the little soaps from hotels, all that stuff.
Yep. Oh, man, the Holiday Inn Express, we'll say that?
Yeah.
They got smart, man. They locked down the soaps.
Oh, no.
They got it to where the cap is locked in, so you can't take it out or anything. They have to come and change it.
Trying to cut down on those costs.
Man, they give you the Dove, though. They give you the nice little Dove lotion, soap. This is pretty good. All right, ordering chicken wings at the strip club.
I'm going to say, fuck it, that's P.
All right, get some thighs with your thighs.
Get some barbecue sauce all over them girls.
Yo, if you're eating chicken wings at the stage front, like you're not even back at the table, like you're on the stage, that's crazy.
That's how you got to do it.
Yeah.
Get them all sticky.
Yeah, her ass clapping while you eating the wild drumstick.
You got to get the dry rub.
Yeah, dry rub, exactly. All right, you kind of touched on this earlier. Shoving your own walkway, but not your neighbor's.
I'm going to say not P, but hey, if your neighbor's young and he can be doing it, or I guess if it's a she, it's different. But if it's a young dude, man, he better be out there shoveling his own shit.
Yeah, I think so too, man. I'm so nice, though, that if he's struggling, I might just be like, yo, let me help you out, bro. I got you. Because you never know. You might have to go to his house for some sugar or something.
Yeah.
Or he might have a leaf blower that you could use during the fall. Yo, remember that one time I helped you shovel your bitch ass snow?
Some trade work.
Yeah, bring me that air blower thing. All right, last one. Starting a movie with your spouse, but finishing it alone.
Man, that's got to be P, because I feel like I always try. She always falls asleep first, so I'm always like threatening to finish the movie without her. We did that with Black Panther last night.
Oh, really?
It was like 20 minutes in and she was falling asleep.
Was it the first one or the second one?
Second one.
What'd you think?
So far, it's good. Like I said, we got 20 minutes in and she's like, all right, I'm going to bed. And I'm like, I'm going to finish this without you.
Dog, it is incredible, bro.
Yeah?
Yeah, man. I really enjoyed this one. And I think, honestly, with Chadwick Boseman passing away, it hits different.
It already did at the beginning, like the whole ceremony they had and everything. It was good.
Dog, man, pulled at my heartstrings, man. I'm like, don't cry, man, don't cry.
Tough it out.
Wait until the end, though. I'll just say that. Hey, Alexa, can you show me a new barber?
Don't worry, I got you.
Boogie Down Barbershop in Taylorsville is now open. Anything from gentleman's cuts, taper, fade, or if you want to treat yourself to a nice hot towel shave, Boogie Down Barbershop has you covered. Cuts for men and kids. Book your appointment today at boogiedownbarbershop.com.
And all the kids are treating me very nice. It's great.
Gee, I can't wait till I go to high school.
Don't you say that. Don't you ever say that.
So with the yearbook, back in the day, you scroll to the back of your yearbook. You can do that to this day. There's always the best blah, 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 or most likely to blah, blah, blah. You're filling in the blah, blah, blah.
Gotcha.
It can be people we know, people we don't know. It could be family members, celebrities, whoever. Whatever you want to put in that blank space, it's on you.
Gotcha.
Okay? Most likely to become a chef. And you can use you once. You can't recycle people is what I'm saying.
I'm going to have to be cocky and say that's me because I feel like I enjoy my cooking.
Yeah, you get busy in the...
Yeah, I do.
Okay, what do you get down on? What's your specialty?
Pretty much, I mean, I have a Traeger.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of cheating, but still, I mean, I make some good ribs or brisket, all that stuff.
So are you a smoker kind of guy?
Yeah. In the summer, I'm out there putting stuff on the smoker.
You a meat connoisseur?
Somewhat.
Pause?
Yep.
That's the clip. You a meat connoisseur?
You going to cut that?
Do you put the wood chips?
Yeah.
Do you like smell it and like taste it and hickory?
No, I'm not that far. Like that, like I said, it's kind of cheating because like the Traeger has like the little pellets and you just dump them in there and it just does it by itself.
Okay. All right. So you're most likely to be the chef. Okay.
Yeah.
Best personality.
Best personality.
Somebody in your life that you're just like, man, that person is cool, man. I just like their personality. Or maybe a celebrity that you just really like.
Best personality. Probably gonna say you, dude.
What?
Yeah.
Hey, hit that pink one for me right there.
This one.
Yeah, I'll take it. Thank you, bro. That means a lot. Okay, most likely to go viral.
I'm gonna probably have to go with the Soul Sisters on this one.
Boom. Okay. Make sure you check out. Do we plug them right now?
Yeah, go for it.
Soul Sisters Podcast, A Journey Within. Go check them out. I was just their guest on their podcast, so we had a lot of fun. That was fun. That was a fun podcast. Okay. Best tattoos.
I'm trying to think. Dude, I'm gonna have to go controversial. Cain Velasquez with that brown pride.
Yeah, he let it be known.
That was dope.
We here.
That was dope.
Arguably one of the greatest heavyweights to ever touch the cage.
Yeah.
And a dope luchador too.
Yeah, when you seen that tattoo, especially like back in the day, it was like, this motherfucker means business.
Yeah, he did. He was knocking everybody out too. The dangerous man. Yo, he's just out on promote. Is it bail? Did they give him bail, or is he? Because he could still do time, right?
I'm not sure.
Because he's out. I know he's out, but I think he's still going through the legal process too.
Probably.
Yeah. Hopefully he doesn't have to do no more time.
Yeah.
All right. Most likely to start a podcast.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I feel like drawing a blank.
We can come back to it. Best dressed.
Best dressed. Man,
Somebody is just fly. I like that person's style.
Who's always fly, huh? I don't know, man. Celebrity or somebody that I know? What celebrities fly? Give me some ideas here.
I mean, there's a lot of people, right? Like Will Smith, the Fresh Prince, he was always fly. He's the one that made most everybody get into Jordans, right? We've seen him on TV. There's if you want to go like suit and tie route, Conor McGregor, always suited and booted.
I'm gonna have to do that.
Conor?
I feel like the suit. I don't wear suits and I don't like suits, but I feel like he did always have some dope stuff on.
You know who else has good style? Fat Joe.
Oh yeah.
Fat Joe is always nice.
I know he had like crazy sneakers too.
Nuts. Okay. Most dramatic.
Damn it.
Don't get in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. Most dramatic. I'm gonna say my little 4-year-old. She wins the title on that, just like her mom.
See, I was saying be careful. And you just threw the shot in there. I'll try to save you.
Hey, it is what it is.
All right. Most likely to try to sell you something. Did you ever have the MLL friend that was just always in the multi-level marketing?
Yeah.
Yo, man, you should get in now because we're about to be millionaires in the next 6 months.
Yeah, there's a lot of people I can think of. I just don't want to call them out.
I got a great idea, man.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to say my little brother, Andy.
Okay.
He's always trying to he's 16, 17. So he's always on a little hustle trying to, hey, I got this, you know?
That's good, man. Being that young and hustling.
Yeah.
Like, get on it, man. Just make sure it hit right when it hits.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Most likely to have a street named after them.
I'm going to say my son, Junior, because his name is also Jason Alvarado, so it'd be cool to see a street like that.
Damn. The roundabout way of getting your own street name. Okay.
Exactly.
You're like, just leave off the JR. I got this. Okay. Most likely to be seen on reality TV.
I'd probably have to say my sister-in-law. I feel like she's really into all that stuff, the Kim K stuff.
Okay.
She's always about that business.
She's definitely wearing Skims.
Yeah.
Okay, last one. Most likely to lose their cool in public.
I have one of my best friends. He's a super hothead. His name's Emilio, so I'd probably go with him.
Never mess with a man named Emilio.
Yeah, especially if they call him Milo.
Oh, don't do that.
Milo.
He's gonna watch this and he's like, man, fuck you, all right?
I'm telling you that dude. When we used to go parties or clubs,
yeah,
he would get a little drunk and he'd be like, man, when we go in here, I always tell him this story. I always give him shit. When we go in here, you better point out the biggest motherfucker in here. I'm gonna fucking sock him.
Why?
Dude, just because his name is Milo.
Jeez. Maybe he's the one that's gonna start a podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe.
Did you get an answer for that one, by the way? Most likely to start a podcast?
I'm gonna go with my other brother, Michael. I think he did start a podcast or he was working on it and it just he never finished it. But I think it'd be cool. He's kind of has good conversation, good tips and stuff. So
cool.
If you're listening, get on that.
Yeah, get after it. Start it now. Don't wait. How'd the old Eaglegate college commercials go? You're sitting on the couch anyhow.
Hey, yo, you're probably listening to the Unrestricted Podcast with DreRawka. We are? No, they are. Yeah, oh, right.
Oh, wow.
And I'm the real Ruby. You can catch me and Fonzie and the Funk, G Daddy Funk on Lake Talk 801 Podcast.
Yeah, but I think you have to come in more smoother, more funnier. Like, yeah, they could catch us on the Lake Talk 801 Podcast.
Yeah, y'all can catch us on the Lake Talk 801.
Yeah, and be like, and yeah, man, hey. And they could catch people like me, the real Ruby, and people like you, Fonzie, and people like him, G Daddy Funk, on the Lake Talk 801. Who cares?
What did he say?
Huh?
I didn't hear him.
I don't know, but this probably should be the ad.
Are these on?
Catch a new episode every Monday on all streaming platforms. The Lake Talk 801. Tune in now.
Dude, you did it just right.
All right, man. Let's close this thing out with the festival. So with the festival, we're going to create a one-day festival. We're going to choose a location, the name of the festival. I'll give the DJ and the host, and then we'll pick some acts, right? We will save the main event for the last act, okay? So you don't want to blow your load on the first one,
right?
All right? So where are we going to have this festival? Anywhere in the world.
Dude, I feel like the first thing that comes to my mind is like some beach in Hawaii.
On the beach? Hawaii. Does that so we're on the beach, Hawaii. What like is this what month is this? Is this summertime?
It's summer, everybody's hot and sweaty.
Okay.
Humid.
Hawaii. What are we gonna name this festival?
What are we gonna name it?
We're on a newly discovered island too. This is a whole new island. We built this thing. We're on this island. What are we calling this?
Mr. Cheeks. Mr. Cheeks Island.
All right, Mr.
You gotta be double cheeked up to come in.
You have to have the yeeks out there, all right? Mr. Cheeks Island.
Yep.
We're gonna have host Drewski. I think Drewski will be a fun host in Hawaii.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Fun guy. And somebody that just came here and tore it up. Gotta have Big Shaq Diesel, Shaquille O'Neal DJing, Drewski hosting at Mr. Cheeks Island in Hawaii. Who's opening up the show?
Oh man, can't go too big.
I already have one in mind to set it off.
Go.
Juvenile.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He opens up with Back That Ass Up, right?
True.
Yeah, and the cool thing about this festival, right? We do Dead or Alive, but also and friends. So Juvenile can bring out his friends too, Hot Boys, right? You know what I mean? Could do a little tribute to certain people.
That's good.
Juvenile. Okay, who's coming up after Juvie?
I want to go with the same theme and come out with Cisco.
Oh, thong song? Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, Drew Hill too, so we can have a little R&B set too.
Yep.
Dang, okay. Little Cisco. Damn, whatever happened to Cisco?
He's probably with his silver hair somewhere.
That stupid dragon that he always have on his shirt. Okay. Let's go with the co-main event. So we got the co-main event and then the main event.
Gotcha.
I'm thinking fun. I'm thinking obviously some cheeks. I'm thinking a whole girl, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, right? I'm thinking all of them come out and they do like a
Lil Kim.
Lil Kim,
all busted up and old, but she's still out there
doing the what?
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Oh man. So we got that. Probably Missy Misdemeanor. You got to have maybe the Lady Marmalade girls come out, right?
Oh yeah.
I think Eve was in there.
Yeah, Eve for sure.
Just the lady takeover, co-main event, lady appreciation takeover, cheeks out.
Do it.
All right. Who's the main event? It's on you.
Are we choosing one or two?
It's up to you. This is the main event.
I want to keep it with the same energy. I'm gonna do Too Short. To be out there. What's my favorite word?
Bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Let's do like a Bay Area Too Short E40.
E40.
Yep.
Cool thing about that is they have a group, right?
Yeah.
Mount Westmore.
We could do that.
So Snoop's out there too.
Yep.
Right? It's live.
The Ice Cube's there too. Right?
Cube. West Coast Connection. Ooh. They bring out the Tupac hologram.
Oh shit! Not the Tupac hologram.
Damn! All of a sudden, the lights dim down, and you hear, dun, 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 boom, 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 and then Dr. Dre comes out. Ooh, with the lowrider.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Remember that Super Bowl performance? That was cool.
Yep. Boom. That's it. Mr. Cheeks Island, live from Hawaii. Drewski, DJ Diesel, Juvenile, Cisco, the ladies, Mount Westmore, the West Coast, pretty much.
Yep. Take
over the island. I like it, man. I think we got a good festival.
Yeah, let's do it.
Get your tickets now. MrCheeksIsland.com. Jason, man, what is the socials? Where can people find you? Do you have any upcoming events? How can people help support your shop and whatnot?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Instagram. Well, my business is All Sports Mouthguards on Instagram and Facebook. allsportsmg.com. That's our website. You can find our address, phone number. We post our recent work, all that stuff. You guys can contact me through there. And our store is in West Jordan, 1385 West, 90th South.
Boom. Be a supporter of local businesses, especially people of color businesses. We know it gets tricky out here. You're kind of coined for made in America, so this product is made right here in the US of A.
Yep.
So if you want to support, be a patriot. Make sure you support my mans. I appreciate you coming through, my brother.
Appreciate you. Thank you for having us on and just giving us, small business a platform to be able to put our info out there. I appreciate it.
I'm sure you can get hit up to go on a lot more now. So
let's do it.
Say yes and spread the word.
Yep. Gotta promote this Mr. Cheeks.
I'm gonna make Mr. Cheeks t-shirts.
Let's do it.
I'm making it. Speaking of merch, got new merch up right now. Allrock.com, ALLRAWK.com. Just dropped the Thingy Thing merch, the All Rock Media shirt merch, and I just dropped what was the third one? Unrestricted merch is up there as well. Make sure you tap in with me. Allrock.com. You can find all the links there for the YouTube channel. If you are a business or if you are somebody that needs a place to record, All Rock Media is open for business. So make your dreams a reality with All Rock Media. Come through. Jason, again, appreciate you, my brother.
Thank you.
Y'all have the day you deserve. Protect your light. We out. Peace.